Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the cooks or the ladies that prepared the lunch. Let's give them a round of applause. Good lunch. Okay, Cheryl has asked me to sort of give you a general overview on protocols for the Sundance that we have. One of the key issues in regards to our Sundance that we have in our three communities. One time we had six Sundances in our three communities, and we're down to three. One of the key components to a Sundance is preparation and commitment. There's a lot of people that prepare, and a lot of people are committed to the Sundance. And there's a lot of people that do not understand the Sundance or the protocols in regards to preparation. And like I said earlier, this year it'll be 45 years that I've worked within our ceremonies in our lodges. And I've went through a lot of the lodge holders and a lot of teachings. John F. was one of my first teachers in Ganao Pagane, that's looking after pipes. I started working in the lodges, making fires. Then I made my way up to where I am today. And I guess in regards to in preparation, the first protocol is to make a decision whether you're going to participate in the lodge. The first protocol is to let your family know in regards to preparation. And there's always a reason why you dance. And then when you're dancing, some people make a commitment of 4 years, and some just take it 1 year at a time. And it's something that's you're doing it for yourself as an individual, and also for your family, and also your community. In preparation of it, a lot of the families, they ask questions with other family members who have danced in the lodges. And one of the key things is when you're moving forward in it in regards to what you have to do, is when it's time to build a lodge and everything, that your participation starts in regards to building your nest. One protocol is you give tobacco to someone who will teach you how to build your first nest. Most dancers already have experience in building their nests, and a lot of people that build nests, they build for other people. Some people build up to 6 to 7 nests for other people who are going to dance. Then once that's done, prior to doing that, you have all your Webinasana, like your ribbons and your giveaways prepared to give away. For what purpose of what you're dancing for. And once your nest is built, there's a tent on the north side of the lodge, which they call it the tent for, like it's a warm-up tent the night before you build a lodge. And if you look at the setting of where the lodge is in the middle, and the Friday night tent is in the north, and in the south there's a fire there when you build a big lodge for the dancers. And I'll give you a very simple example. Is the north is sort of like the eagle's tail. If you notice, it's the eagle's tail, and the big lodge is more or less like the body of the eagle. Then when they make the fire on the south end, that's sort of the eagle's head. And sort of the wings of the eagle is the encampment, camp of all the people. That's what makes up our lodge. And in preparation for all the ceremonies in regards to moving all our pipes and all our everything that we done Friday night when the lodge is built. They go for the tree at 4 or 5 in the morning. The elders go for it, then they bring it back. And once that's done, they come back to the grounds. They smudge the tree, Bisom Sinan. They smudge it and they put all the Webinasnan on the tree, on Bisom Sinan. Once that's done, everybody, all the ones that went for the tree, when everything is all prepared, the center pole is ready to go up. The lodge holder who's running the Sundance, he gets his elders in a semicircle in preparation to bring Bisom Sinan up, to stand him up. There's tobacco that's given, then they smoke the pipe, then they sing the song for the tree to come up. Once the tree, Bisom Sinan, is raised, all the people in the camp all stand up and watch them lift Bisom Sinan, which is all decorated with all our ribbons and everything. The next protocol, once the tree is up, it's put in place, and it's all decorated. All the dancers come and bring their Webinasnan, what they want to put on the tree. Once that's done, then everybody, all the workers, they start building the lodge. And the lodge is built in a sequence, in a circle, the way it's like the way the pipe goes. It's built starting from your left right around. You put the poles in. Then the next one is the rails. Do the same thing. Do the four different directions. And once that's all done, it's then when it's complete, that's when all the dancers come in with their nests and they start building their nests. And that takes about from 11 o'clock in the morning till about 3, 4 o'clock. Once that's all finished and everything, the next protocol is from the smoke tent. We move from the smoke tent, all the pipes, all the Webinasnan, all the pipes, everything that's on the altar for the 4 bishops. We all get together, all the workers get together, and we all haul it in together, all in one move. We go towards the lodge to the south, and on the left side we go in a circle and bring it around the front. Then we set up our pipes. Once the pipes are set up, everything else is set up. It takes a good hour to set everything up, to make sure everything is in place so we don't forget anything. And once that's done, then the head one that's having the Sundance Lodge, he has to select all his workers, gives tobacco to all his workers. And all those workers' duties, roles, and responsibilities are to watch over the lodge, also to help hang up Webinasnan for each of the dancers. And each of the dancers, they give their tobacco, their cloth, their ribbons, everything, Senapani Sak, they give them, and then they hang them on their shakers that they hold. So that's a key protocol. Once that's done, everybody is done. Within that, we sit and wait for the cooks. And once the cooks bring the food, everything is bought in front, the food that they're going to feed everybody within the lodge before we start. Once that's all done, the one that's running the lodge, he calls on his four elders that are going to sit up front. There's four elders. One elder, there's a direction for each of the elders. Like in the summertime, it's Wanakaniwin is to Ozaonong, to the south. The second one is over to the left side of the lodge. His is Giwetanong. And the second one to the right side is Nigabionong, which is west. And the end one is to Wapanong, that's the east. What happens once you sit the elders down? First of all, the food is all served to all the people. They're giving all the food. The bishops are the first one to serve. Then the bishops wait till everybody is served. After everybody is served, then the lead elder stands there and tells all the bishops their Onakanigewin. This is your Onakanigewin, this is what you're praying for. That's Neo Kick, that's 4 pails of soup. COE, that's the fruit. Senapane Sak, that's the ribbons. Webanasanan, that hangs around the lodge. And each and every bishop is given that. The north is also given their Onakanigewin. And also they're told about Neo Kick, that's 4 pails of soup. Sanapane Sak, the ribbons, and Webanasanan. Same with the one in Nigabionong. And those are all 4. There's about 8 protocols with all those 4 steps, because they have to do it twice. And once that's given out, then prior to the leader of the lodge, before he gives the pipes, he's given their directions. Once they got that, then he stands up and explains why he's having the Sundance. It's usually for his family, for him as an individual, his children, his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the people of the community. Then he explains to each of the bishop what they're praying for, because there's a process and there's a procedure and there's a responsibility of those 4 positions. Once those 4 positions are all explained to them, then the lead bishop, the first one, has a prayer that he does, which has been around for thousands of years. And then the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. And everybody's prayers, they're not the same, they're all different, but the process and procedures are the same. And that's carried through. Once they're finished praying, then that's when they sit down, and that's when they smoke their pipes once they finish praying, each of them. In turn, they light their pipes by individuals until the 4th one is finished. And then when the 4 pipes are finished, when they're emptied, they're brought back to the pipe, the one that looks after all the pipes and all the fruit. He oversees the fruit, the pipes, the Webanasanan, the ribbons, Sanapani, Sak, everything, he looks after them. So it's a big job for the person that looks after the pipes. He's got to have a good memory. He's got to study the pipes, which one belongs to who, what ribbons belongs to them, what fruit belongs to them, and what they're all about, what they're for. Once that's all done, after they finish their prayers, then what happens is the women, while they reload the pipes again, they reload the pipes and they smudge each and every one of them. And once that's done, the head bishop will tell the women to start eating. But prior to the women to start eating, there's usually 4 skabeosak, which are the workers, 4 or 5 of them. They eat before everybody else, and their food is blessed through the head elders. Their food is blessed so they could work when they're ready to serve everybody, when everybody is served. So what they do once that's done, they eat, and by the time the prayers are done, the skabeosak are all ready to work and waiting. So once the pipes are blessed and loaded, that's when the head bishop tells the ladies you could eat. But the men have to wait till all the pipes get back to be smudged and loaded back onto where they belong. Once that's done, everybody eats. Everybody eats, and then once everybody's finished eating, there's one pipe, usually Giwaitanung, the northern pipe. They give it to the singer that's going to start the Sundance off singing. He's given that pipe, and one of the elders will usually pray for that lead singer, or else the lead singer sometimes will pray for themselves. And once that's done, then they start singing. They usually sing 2 to 3 or 4 songs to start things off. And once you finish four songs, then the head bishop gets up, and it's the starting process of the lodge. From his chair, he explains what it's for. There's a process that he follows. He prays. Once he's finished, then the second one from the north says he talks about his Unakanigewin, Webinasanan, Neo kick, the soap, COE, the fruit, and on it goes. That's each and every each 4 of them speak about that. And that's done, and then they keep on singing. And once that lead singer that started off the singing, once he wants to finish singing, then it's the bishops. They take turns. The first bishop sings, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. They sing. And that takes you really right late into the evening. Some of the head bishops sing longer than others, but usually they sing 4 to 5, 6 songs. And once the 4 head bishops finish singing, what happens is the fruit is given out to the singers to pass on, and also there's fruit also given to the women. And all the fruit is all eaten before sundown. And usually when you finish the fruit, when we finish singing, we like to usually finish before sundown, but there's times that we're not quite finished the lodge or preparation, and we go late into the night. Not very often that happens, but if everything is good, the best thing to do is to try and finish by sundown. But usually we go over the sundown limit and go into the evening. So that's sort of the general the general protocols. There's a lot of protocols. Like I talk about ceremonies in our three communities, and I always say we have about 60 to 90 ceremonies. And you really look at the protocols for uh, for the Sundance. There's warm-ups we have. Those are four times, and those are for the four seasons. They're for spring, summer, fall, and winter. There's a process and procedure for each of those seasons. It's no different with our bear lodges, the lodges that individuals have. They have one in the spring and one in the fall. So in regards to amount of ceremonies, you look at the protocol just for the Sundance. I roughly figured there's anywhere from all our ceremonies with all the sweats that people have, the council dances, the sun dances, and the round dances. There's about 900 protocols. Because you look at the sun dance, we got the four warm ups. There's about 12 to 15 protocols to each each warm up, and then you have three of those warm ups before a sun dance, and the fourth one is always the night before. That's your fourth warm up for starting of the sun dance. Also, during the warm ups, the Onakanigiwin changes from summer, like in the fall, in the winter, and the spring. And the Onakanigiwin changes, and the summer Onakanigiwin comes back in the summer when you start your Sundance, because you go in the winter. We go Giwetanong, north and south, west and east. East and west. Summertime we go Wazawnong, south, north, Nigabionong, and Wapanong. That's the changeover, and we do that in the summer or in the spring warm up. So that's a major protocol. That's very important. Is the change of the Onakanigiwin. In regards to all what I've explained, is the other process is the giveaways. The very first person to do a giveaway is the one that's running the Sundance Lodge. The individual, the family. He's the first one. Once he gives away, everybody else follows. And that takes pretty well all day to do. And you have Skabeosak working. There's probably 5 or 6 of them that work, that looks after the giveaways, and they take direction from the family where the giveaways go to. Either they go to strangers, or they go to family members, or people, or mostly visitors. So that's another major protocol, is the giveaways. Usually on the giveaways, a lot of young people, they do their giveaways and they leave. They leave the camp. And usually what the elders said long time ago is, when you have giveaways, you do giveaways and you stay there till you're finished. Because they used to always say, if you just come there and give away and you leave, your Webinasana doesn't go anywhere. Those are one of the teachings that was always said by our old people. And a lot of people just come and give away and they leave. So it's a protocol that's we really don't implement it, because we don't like to interfere in people, what they do after they do their giveaways. It's entirely up to them. But that's something, it's a teaching that a lot of families have. And there's some that come and once they, years ago, there used to be a lot of people that used to come from Wayway, Rossburn, Timberton, different communities down from Fort Capel. There was a lot of people that used to in the early days they gave all the Wabanustan and all the giveaways to strangers, eh? And what happened was a lot of the strangers used to get their giveaways and they'd leave right away. And a lot of the elders used to always talk about that. But we're getting back a lot of visitors now from Fort Capel that come out, from Manitoba. And we get a lot of people that come. And after we're finished, there's a process of finishing of the head bishop going. There's a process also. There's 4 different steps in regards to. There's steps in starting up the lodge, and there's steps towards closing down the ceremony also. And the head bishop does it, and all the other bishops have roles and responsibilities. Also, there's a scabe wish. You call a scabe wish. You put tobacco and sweetgrass in it. The one that heads the Sundance, he wraps those up, and 4 days before the Sundance, he hands them out to all the bishops. And during that process, the bishops hang on to those for 4 days, and then when they come back to the lodge, they give it to the Oganao Pagane, the guy that looks after the pipes. He mixes it up with all the other tobacco. And the purpose of that is an invitation to the elders to come. And then there's a place within the ceremony before we finish that the 4 bishops have to speak to that scabe with what they did with it and what they prayed for with it. They explain what they did with the scabe with. And that's what the scabe with is all about. It's given to you as the host always is the one requesting you to come and work and be a bishop at their ceremony. That's one thing I forgot to talk about. Another thing before the Sundance is over, there's also a process for the dancers. All the dancers have family members bring their water to the lodge, and it's all put in front of the tree. And before we finish, we get all the 4 bishops up front to bless each and every one of that water, and we pour some on Miss Thompson. That's before we finish. And before we shut down again, the head bishop has a process to finish off. He goes to the drum twice, talks about the finishing process, and then from there, the finishing process, they sing usually 4 songs for quitting. Once the quitting is all done, there again, another major protocol is we go back to the elders with the pipes to smoke the pipes. And once they smoke the pipes, that pretty well finishes it off. Then the head bishops explains the creation story of releasing the pipes, letting the pipes down. And that's the creation story that's told pretty near in all ceremonies. And if you were able to understand that creation story, I tell you, it's a beautiful story, and of how us as Indian people we were told will always be around, will never disappear, us Indian people. And that's the gift I always talk about. It's the true inherent right process that was given to us as Indian people from the Creator. It's a spiritual process that is brought down. So that's sort of the general overview of some of the protocols, I missed most of the protocols, but I said I'll just tell you in general. Most of you here pretty well know all those protocols, but just for the ones that don't understand them, but a lot of it is through the language. Another thing is Gigikwe. When many years ago we had a lot of that's teachings. Today we don't see that anymore. Teachings, where it's a gap that's missing. Either us as grandparents we're not doing what we should be doing, but I'm sure each of you's do those teachings to individuals, because I know Leonard talks to a lot of young people. And they have questions about the culture. Same with Cuthbert. There's a lot of teachings, but all those teachings were missing. And there's a lot of children that want to get to understand, because one of the things is identity. The identity of who they are. Who was their great, great, great grandparents? How did they pray? And like I said earlier, we have these discussions about Christians and Catholics and traditional ways. And I always say, we have similarities. We pray to one person, and that's the Creator. Instead of talking about differences amongst ourselves, we have to talk about the similarities. And the similarities are we all pray to one Creator. And we all talk about we have to respect each other. We have to respect the Christians have to respect us, Catholics have to respect us, everything else. Because if you're a traditional person and you're going to criticize the churches, you're not traditional. And vice versa. If you're a Christian and you're going to criticize Christians, you're not a Christian. You're going to criticize traditional, you're not a Christian. And it's only common sense. And it's for people to get along, we all pray. We care and love each other. And it's getting to the point, my friends, that our elders, what you see here is the elders. We haven't got any other. There's 27 elders in Keeseekoose, and they're not all here. But how much of them are into traditional ways? We have lots of elders that are Christians. A lot of elders are traditional. Lots are Catholics, and we have to accept that and learn to work together. Live in harmony. Live in peace. And respect each other. Because it's kind of getting late in life. From my perspective of our ages, for 70 and over, and we ask ourselves, what are we going to leave our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren? What are we going to leave them? Are we going to leave them the legacy of our ceremonies? Are we going to leave them the legacy of prayer? Because it's about identity. A lot of our young children have lost their identity. And the only way you'll get your identity back is knowing who your uncles are, who your grandparents are, who your great-grandparents are. And a lot of our children don't know that. And also the oral history and the history of our community. Where did we come from? If you look at these three reserves one time were all Sivrites. The only reason why we have different names now is because of the Indian names. That's how our names changed. So we're all interrelated in our three communities here. And the Coodies, they have their lodges. Keeseekoose have theirs. Keys have theirs. So that's That's my sharing of some of the protocols with the Sundance. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to it. And one of the things, we get a lot of people at the Sundance, anywhere from 300 to 500 people, and that's a very positive sign from people coming from our three communities. It tells you something. And if we were very humble, like we are at our ceremonies and at our wakes, would be one happy three communities. But sometimes we tend to forget we have our ceremonies and we go back to our old ways of gossip and criticism. And it's not healthy for our communities because we got to practice what we preach. We got to practice how we live. Because when you're an elder, you're under a magnifying glass. People make judgment over elders. So just be careful what you say out there and how you behave. It's people always look for the wrong in people, and there's a lot of good people in our three communities. We all get along. We're all happy, but there's always that handful that's want to bring that negativity into our discussions, into our families, into our communities. So, my dear friends, I thank you for your listening, and I hope I helped out some way somehow in regards to how important our community ceremonies are. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. If you want, you talk to an elder. Sit down with an elder. Tell her your feelings, what you think, or what you want to do, or you want to do a Sundance. Talk to your father. Talk to an elder, and get guidance from there. That's what I forgot. Women have a major and important role in every lodge that we have. Women own 50% of every ceremony we have. And within the lodge, the women are only allowed half of the lodge on this side. Sometimes there's mistakes making people, even the fire, they're not supposed to go between the fire and the lodge. And sometimes the fireman is the one that's supposed to watch that, but sometimes they don't. Also, Skabeosak have to be, like Dick and Art says, they got to keep an eye on it. Even the perimeter of the lodge also, we put up markers where people can't park. So it's a matter of our Skabeosak, which are our workers. They have to observe and watch real close of watching mistakes, because when mistakes are made, if there's a mistake brought up to one of the elder right away will get up and pray. But also within our four bishops, the fourth person, he talks about Mahigan. Mahigan is the one that cleans up mistakes within the lodge. He watches over the children and the women and all the dancers. So Mahigan always does that automatically. He cleans up any mistakes that are made. But also on top of that, one of the elders will stand up and explain the mistake and say a prayer for it. So that way we're covered in regards to mistakes that are made. Well, that's an issue. We talk like I talk to them. They're not supposed to sit down. Art is right. But some of them they don't listen, you know. But usually, how some of them rest is when one of the bishops are standing and doing the giveaways, they'll sit on their chair. Because those chairs always got to be occupied by somebody. But that's an important one. Skabeosak, they figure they're just there just for this and that. But they remember Buldy and them? Did you ever see those guys sit down? Never. Small boy, all those old timers. Always, and even they even walked around the lodge checking the nests, you know. So Skabeosak are very important. They have an important role. But one of the things now that we've done is we got a lot of good Skabeosak, we got a lot of new ones, and what we do before we start, we sit down in a huddle and talk to them. Any questions you have or any, you know, instead of us sending them out. Like long ago, the bishops would send a worker out if they made a mistake in front of everybody. And that scared a lot of our young workers away. So now if there's a problem, we try and do it together as a group instead of yelling at them and scaring them off.
We had a whipman many years ago. A lot of you guys would remember that late Jake Fiddler, and he was a real powerful man. That guy. I know I was really scared of him. He had a whip. Nowadays we don't have that kind. Those are the kind that we were supposed to have around our Sundance Lodge, but we don't have those anymore. We don't have that kind that are really strict. Because our young, this is where our language comes into play again. We're talking about our Scopios, like, the workers there, they don't understand us when we try to tell them something. We have to talk English. A lot of our people don't understand that's where our language comes into play. And that's what the old people used to say years ago. We used to listen to them talking about this. You guys are going to have a problem with your language in the future, they said. I didn't know what they meant. Me too, I didn't understand what they were talking about because the one thing they used to tell us, you have to listen in those lodges. You just can't listen to a few things then think you know everything. There's protocol to follow. There's things you have to listen to. They were strict years ago. Nowadays we're not strict. We're not strict enough. Like me, I'm scared to get someone mad in that place, in that lodge. Because if I get someone mad, a young person, they'll walk away from there. They wouldn't come back. I've seen a lot of young guys doing that, getting mad when they were told something. When we were growing up, like us sitting around a table here where we were told something, we had to listen. We didn't get mad. That was protocol as to we had to follow. That's what you call Keeseekoose. I remember those old guys when they used to tell us something, we had to listen or else. But nowadays you can't have it that way. Our young people don't see it that way. If they tell them something, they get mad. Even our women, our older ladies should be talking in there. Because they have, like Ted said, they own half of that, 50% of that lodge. I used to like listening to the old ladies talking long ago. I wouldn't mind to see that come back. But there's a lot of things that we don't have. I don't see them in there anymore, Mia. Like our lodges will never go. They'll always be there. There's some guys though that think, oh yeah, our lodges will be there. Yeah, they'll be there, but they won't have no meaning, I always say. They'll be talking English in our lodges and they won't have no meaning. That's what I'm afraid of. When somebody comes in there to speak English, I seen that once already in Cody. Somebody speaking English in the lodge praying. And I didn't feel good when that happened. Because the old people used to say, once you start talking English in the lodges, there's things that come there to help us. There's these Atsukanak, they call them, or our helpers. They come from all directions, up, down. And when somebody starts praying in English, those things fade back, they pull away. They don't come there. And one thing I was listening to Ted talk about, when people bring their offerings there and they leave right away, they leave before the lodge is done. They take their prayers with them, whatever they wanted. They take those home with them. They don't go up here. Because at the end, and we talk about that creation story at the end, the one that lets the pipes go. That's where that thing comes into play. They go there at the end, and they ask the Creator to take all our prayers up, and that's where those people should have been sitting around, for their prayers to be taken up. But nowadays we can't tell them that because they don't. A lot of them don't understand Soto. They don't understand the language. That's where a lot of we go wrong a lot of times. I feel for the people, when I go there, when we pray for them, they don't understand the protocol. Our young people, even the older people, they say, I'll take my cloths or my ribbons, my tobacco, and after they pray for me, I'll be done. They think, no, it's not. They're not done. It goes full circle. You always have to be there right till the end. My parents told me that. If you're going to take stuff there, stay there till the end, because you're taking your prayers home with you. They used to tell me. A lot of the older guys I used to listen to them too when they used to talk about these things. Our sun dance our rain dance is unique. If we followed the ways, if everybody followed the way, it'd be a better place. A lot of our people would benefit from our lodge, but things are gradually going. Gradually going. This is the first time I hear somebody talk about protocol like our Sundance Lodge, our Rain Dance Lodge. I never heard about it before in a meeting like this, because we're even me too. I had in the back of my mind, am I doing right when I talk about that? I used to think, and I was thinking about this when Ted was talking about protocol. Man, they used to talk about this long ago. I used to listen to the old guys. They'll be like what we're doing today. We're talking in English, like about our rain dance lodge. I think, are we doing right when we're doing this? But we have to go for, we have to do something in order to go forward, in order for preserve our lodges, our 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 ceremonies, because there's about 5 ceremonies that we don't have here anymore. They're gone. I used to attend a lot of those things, and we don't have them anymore. And I always think about the round dance, the rain dance, the council dance. Those things are on the verge of going down. I always think about that at home. These young people that even I'll take for instance my boys. They're never here. They should have been here. Ralph is a counselor. He's not here. Tyrone is a counselor. He's not here. I always tell them. I asked them one day bluntly. I asked them, two of them, Ralph and Tyrone, what are you guys going to do when I'm not around? They just shrugged their shoulders. They didn't know what to say. But that's what I mean. I always try and talk to them, tell them what's right, what they're about our ceremonies. But one time, I was like that myself, but I start listening. I don't know what's going to take for our young people to understand that, you know. Even our women, even the young ladies, they have to start listening in order for our ceremonies to go further on. But yeah, we'll have our ceremonies in the future. That's what I always. Some people think that way. We'll have our ceremonies. Yeah, we'll have them. They think. I know a few guys that think like that. But are they going to be talking our language in their ceremonies? I say. No one's will be talking English. I'll give you a good example. One time there's four guys from Northern Ontario. They come and seen me one time at that lodge. They come and gave me tobacco. They said we have these kind Northern Ontario, but they speak nothing but English in there. They said they told me, and nothing works for them. Their prayers aren't answered. They said that's why we come all the way this way. They have to fly up to Thunder Bay, and from there they rent vehicles to come this way. They don't come around here anymore. I think they're in Onion Lake because they're Cree, and that's what I seen happen. That's what I seen that happening already. Like them talking English in their ceremonies. It's not Kanton Duttagoose see Eutiniga Nitsna Peggy Spin. We sagana sim what they used to say. I used to hear these elders talk like that. There was Muskwas here, your guy's grandfather, late Roy Muskwa, late Joe Straightnose, late Bruce Waiton, late John F., late Johnny Cody, my dad. They used to always talk about these things, but in straight Sodo. They never spoke English. They warned. I used to listen to them warning us about these things, what's going to happen. But sometimes I always think we could turn these around. What they predicted. We could turn these around, like into a good way. Like they said, you're gonna lose your language. But our languages will never be lost. It'll always be there for us to grab. It's just a matter of I don't know what it's going to take us. Like, I'm not trying to scare nobody. My dad told me one time, this is not me, he was saying. Indians are going to get real scared one of these days, he said. I thought that was when they had that COVID, I thought it was that, but it's not that. It's something else. As long as you guys keep your pipes, they told me. My dad told me, keep your pipe. That'll protect you. Don't lose your pipe, he said. People will come see you. And a lot of people did come see me when COVID set in, but there's something else coming. I heard a few people talking about this other places. This past summer, I went with those elders from Saskatchewan. There's a couple guys that were talking about that. There's something coming, they said. It's coming from the north. I don't know what they're talking about. But then I felt that. It's. And they talked about drugs and alcohol. They talked about needles. And they didn't even know about those things years ago. Now we see those things. And they talk about Magatitwin, their people are going to destroy one another. And that's with these, Facebook. They warned us, they warned I took their warning long ago. I understood that, I didn't understand what they talked about right away. But then I started realizing it over the years, like what's happening to our people. We're losing a lot of our people. And it's our young people, our middle-aged people, and it's due to drugs. And we got to try and I don't know how we're going to do it. I always think about that, at home. I tell my wife that, like, we're, but it seems like when we talk about it more, it's like it gets worse. But I always think about our people, the people we lose. We shouldn't be losing that much people. I always think, is the Creator punishing us for what we're doing? We're not doing something right. But I always tell Ted, those Tambiaganak, that our lodges are we doing right? But we always try to do right. But there's always mistakes. But we always correct our mistakes. Because I get scared when I make a mistake, or I see somebody make a mistake in our lodges, especially our rain dance lodges. Those things are sacred. They were put there for us for a good reason. And I always think about our people. I don't think about myself when I sit there. I think about all the people. I think about the kids. What's going to happen to our grandchildren, our great grandchildren in the future? I always tell my boys that. What are you guys going to do if I'm not around? How are you going to look after your kids, your grandchildren? I tell them. They couldn't answer me. But it's a struggle I think we could overcome. I always think about that. I'm not here talking about myself. Everybody that's from these three communities, even we talk about our Christians, our Roman Catholics, them too. We have to live. Have to live side by side. We can't have feuds and stuff like that. I always think like that. Like we got to live a good life. That's what our old people wanted us to do. Live the good life. Nowadays they have it. They call it the red road. Well, that's as we call it. Gimikana. That's what they used to say long ago. But now they call it. They have terms, different terms. Like they call this place Turtle Island, and I know what is that. That's we they never had those terms long ago, years ago. But we have to change our way in order for us to move forward. I always think about that when I'm at home. Like I have a big sweat and a round dance lodge. I think about that round dance. There's over the years it's declining. Few people go to those, and at one time there was so many people that used to go to those things. Now there's hardly any people. I always think about that. Even our sweat lodges. Like Ted was talking about that. Long ago you didn't have to be invited to go to those kind. Those old guys would be, if someone was making a sweat, they would be there right away. Or a round dance, rain dance. But now it's different. I don't know why it's so different nowadays. But protocol. We have to follow that protocol. We have to follow protocol. In order for us to move forward. But a lot of our people should have been here. Our lodge holders, they're not here. The ones that have lodges, the ones that have sweats, the rain dance, those guys aren't here. If they really wanted things to move forward, they'd be here. But we gotta tell our people. Oh, I'm taking too much of your time. But the old people, the old guys used to talk for hours. I'm just talking for a few minutes here. And I feel like I'm talking long, but I'm not. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I hope we move forward with our lodges. Make which.
Thank you for those good words, Cuthbert. So you touched a little bit on the round dance. So I'm going to have you talk a little more on the protocols for the round dance. But I just want to make a comment to add on to Ted's talk and your talk in regards to the rain dance. I just wanted to share what I was also taught because it bothered me when I used to when I'd go to the rain dances and I'd see these young women who were dancing, and then during breaks they'd go to their tents and they'd wash their hair. And we were told that once you're starting to fast because you're praying, you're not supposed to touch water. And I asked one of my grandmothers one time, how come you guys don't say anything to them for doing that? But one of these gentlemen brought it up, and it's exactly right. They said, we did, but all they do is get mad at us and swear at us, you know. So how do we bring that respect back if they want to come to those lodges and take part in those ceremonies? Where are they going to learn that respect that, there are protocols that we have to follow? I know I got into trouble a few times for not doing right, and I eventually learned. Even the way they dress sometimes with their coming there in shorts and inappropriate tops. So I don't know where we start or who would be the voice, but yeah, those are other things that need to be discussed and have others realize when they are taking part in those ceremonies that there are a lot of protocols that we have to consider and abide by if we're going to be serious about joining those ceremonies. But thank you, and I'll let Cuthbert carry on so that he can share the protocols on the round dance with us next.
Okay, I'll share a little bit about all the protocols with coming to a round dance, dealing with making a round dance. Like, round dances are, there's only certain few round dance lodge holders we have left in the community here, and like I said, even those are they're declining. Like those you just can't grab a round dance lodge just like that. You gotta have directions to the pipe. You gotta have a pipe to begin with, and these round dances, they belong to the living. Half of the round dances belong to the living, and half of it the ones that passed on. And there's certain things you have to follow when you make it. We make those things we start around 6 o'clock and then before midnight. Like I'll talk about my round dance. My round dance, my grandfather had that many years ago. I was just a little boy when I first remember seeing a round dance. And my late grandfather had this round dance. But there's directions to that. There's directions to that round dance. I wouldn't want to give the directions right now, but there's they use I use 110 sticks for my round dance lodge, and we just use one pipe. We use one headman, one gun tampit ma yap chianan, and we have a pipe like a gaganau poganate, and just like what our rain dance lodges do, we have to explain before we begin. When it's all set up, we have to explain what this lodge is for, what we want from it, the prayers we want that guy to talk about. It's not just for me; it's for the whole community. That's what I see anyway. Like my family, all the three communities, all the people that come there, and we use 4 pills of soup. At one time, when we used to live in the village here, they used to use over 65 ducks, and there were that is a big round dance lodge. Maybe some of you guys would remember that. But there was only, I think there was only a couple round dances around that time. And there was a lot of people from the three communities, Cody, Key, and Keeseekoose, that used to attend. But now it's declining in number, like the people that don't come there anymore. But it's when we start to, there's certain songs you got to use at the beginning, and Van Tumpit, he talks about he prays for what you're asking for. There's certain steps to follow there again when the headman is talking. He's got to follow certain steps, pray a certain way, and when they start, they got to sing certain songs. These songs are way back. I remember those old guys singing these songs long ago. And there's one head singer that sings, but they could switch as they go around, as they go along. But there again, you have to wait for the people that are making that after their giveaway. Then anybody else could give away. What else now? They use they don't use these tobacco ties like what Ted was talking about. They just invite. Like I said, you didn't have to invite people long ago. They used to just come, even from the different communities. They would come without being asked. But nowadays, we're so few, like our people, like the ones that understand, the ones that talk our language, and we're getting fewer and fewer. Like it's scary, getting scary. Me, I think about that all the time. Once in a while, I think about putting my lodge away. Like I don't know how it's going to be this year. But it's something I'm not going to give up on. I don't consider myself an old person yet, but I never consider myself an elder, though. But they're right following through the round dance. You dance. Long ago I used to watch the old ladies. They used to dance in circle. They used to sing as they danced, or else where they were sitting, they would sing from there. Those old ladies used to sound good when they used to sing, but nowadays it's different. But I hope these things go forward. Like I said, they last. Me, I don't use ribbons at my round dance. Because for one fact, my dad used to tell me, don't ever put ribbons near you, he said, because half of that is for the dead, half of it is for the living. So he told me, don't ever put ribbons in there. But if people want to put ribbons, it's up to them, he said. So I never put ribbons in mine, or cloth. And what else? I hope I don't forget nothing here. Then it goes on till about midnight tonight. I try to quit before midnight all the time, because you can't go into the next day. There again, it depends how much workers you have too. Like sometimes you have about 3 or 4, which is lots. We used to have a lot of people attending these kind one time, but now it's starting to decline in number. Sometimes you see the odd time, and like I'll tell you the difference. They have round dances in the creep down east or down west. They have it in just like in a power setting. They use hand drums. They have an MC. They even sell 50-50. That's we don't do that here. Another place they do it different is in Yellow Quill that way. They have it in the afternoon, them. But the same way as we have it here. We have fruit, everything. But we don't have 50-50 or a or a PA system. But it's something that I want to keep going for our community, like the old way. But it's starting to changing with time. Well, coming towards the end now. See, this is where I feel very uncomfortable when I'm talking about this, because I don't know if I'm doing right. I don't know if I'm doing wrong. Because there's certain protocol you have to follow that's different. And when you let the pipe go and the creation story, but I think that's where we have to go. We have to talk about it going forward. Like at the end, you the singer has to sing. Oh, before that, the ones that are making that, you have to give thanks. Like you have to tell them if you're going to have it again next year at the same time, and the one that's sitting there will talk about that. Then you have to that the one that's singing has to sing. I think it's 5 different songs at the end, and you can't miss out on any of those songs. And after he's done, then you smoke the pipe in that the on trumpet. The headman lets the pipe go. Yeah, that's where the creation story comes in. That's where again what you want, what the prayers you wanted, you have to be there in order for them to be lifted up, and giving thanks to everything. Like I always look forward to that. Me when at the end, when you're when you want everything to go right, that's where everything has got to be. Everything's lifted up. But that's pretty well the whole the protocol. It's just about I just about covered everything, but that's about it, I guess, Cheryl. Oh yeah, I forgot that part. That was always I never I don't really know about. I can't pick up on that part because that was always in there. It's it's the it's 4 men representing the 4 directions. I guess same thing with the women representing everything. Yeah. 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 What's they leave or what? Yeah. Once you get tobacco, that you got to stay till the end. You can't leave. That's where you're taking your prayers home with you. If your prayers don't go up here when. Well, those are strong. They play a significance in our round dance when we are given tobacco. That's a big thing when you get tobacco in a lodge like that. Any kind of lodge, if represents a lot, it represents your family, everything. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Thank you. I think we'll take a 5-minute break and then we're going to come back and we're going to listen to teachings on the Mistake by my dad. And then if we have time, we're going to finish up with Dick for the sweats. If not, he's going to be first on the list tomorrow morning.
Okay, we got the thumbs up, and I was asked to speak on one of our most used traditional functions is Majestege, and that's a feast for the people that have gone, that have gone, and they're making a feast for them to take some food along with them on their journey. But first and foremost, when us elders are given tobacco, first and foremost, when you're given a piece tobacco to speak for somebody or speak to some people, you never turn down a tobacco. First and foremost, you do the best you can when you're given this tobacco. The elder said, "Ispin mini ko on sema, ego ika na ken, isikskito ni gagagikitu tamok ko, apo sen me kok, tagagikitu tamodok." So that's what I'm going to try and explain this like the Last Supper, so to speak. The terminology we'll use on that, the Last Supper. So my daughter asked me to speak on Mr. Staygawen. And lately we've been using this Mr. Staygawen quite a bit because we've been losing a lot of people through drugs and alcohol. So lately, and I noticed too that our First Nations people are gone traditional with their burial. Used to be the Catholics, the born again, have now most of the people are using the traditional burial style. And I think we've kind of overworked one of our elders that does this quite a bit is Ted Stronko. And he's been going steady pretty well every week because we're losing people by the dozens, When I say by the dozens, it's by the dozens. And anyway, when you're given this tobacco to come and speak for Majestege when some the Last Supper, like we'll use that terminology there, and tagagikito tamagi and to speak for these people. And there's a protocol like my Nietzsche there talks about the round dancer. So, there's a protocol that we have to follow or you have to follow. And there's only a certain people that can tell this. And this ceremony or this traditional function, when you use this, there's no tobacco. You don't use, there's no sweetgrass, and there's no pipe is not used on this. And this ceremony is not a prayer either. It's not a prayer. It's a story that the elders used to tell about this and Majestege when the four. Then what happened was the Creator at one time, how I was taught to speak, and some guys don't. There's different ways that you speak about this story, a little different, but all in the same direction. And there's like I said, Ted was kind of overworked with burying people, but he's got the job and he does it pretty fluently and good. He's got a lot of practice doing it, so he's pretty good on that. And I wish he was here. He'd been the one to talk about this, but I'm here, so I'm pinch hitting, and I'll do the best I can, the way I was taught. The Creator was talking to his workers, and that's he noticed that the world was getting full. People were living forever and ever, and and the world was getting full. And all of a sudden he says, we have to move these people someplace, find a place. And he asked this guy that had the wings on his feet, a little bit of Greek mythology there too. Tagagin, until they antige, he said, can you go find a place where they can go? So this guy that ran, he says, I'll go and look. So he was gone, and all of a sudden he came back and he said, I found a place. I found a perfect place to go. And where we're going, there's no fighting, there's no crying, there's no quarreling of any kind, there's no sickness, it's only happiness. And this is where we're going to send our people. And this is where we're going. But some of us might go down below too. we don't live a good life. So anyway, that's just a little joke there. But anyway, that's where, yeah. So anyway, this is where the people go, and this is where the story begins. This is where the story begins of how the person that passed away goes from four roadblocks or four. You people say it's a kwaisa, and the road you're going to take to get to heaven or wherever we're going to be going. So there's four places. First, they talk about the river that flows too fast, and there's a looks like a log, but it's not a log. It's a serpent that puts his body that crosses the river or the fast flowing river, and this is where the Creator gave him that job. This is the guy that the serpent that got Adam and Eve to eat that apple, and that was he fooled the people, he marked the people in, so to speak, and that's the job he was given, I guess, to do that. Then and the person and the food. Have like the next obstacle they have is a bush, the big forest or whatever. You don't know how to get through that forest, and they come upon this little tent, and this little old lady sitting there, and they give them a little bit of food there, and she'll point to where that food and that spirit or where the person that's deceased will go, and just like there's a door opening through that forest, and they go by that, and that's the second obstacle that they have. The third one is they talk about the dogs. The dogs, they're pretty. They won't let. They're very vicious, and they won't let you go through. So they put food there for them to eat, and the food goes by, and the spirit of the person that passed away puts them on their wag their tail and let them go. That's three obstacles that they go through. And the fourth obstacle, the spirit and the tobacco and the food go to the left. To the left, you see, you can hear these people singing hymns and having a good time. And this is the white people, I guess. They have a place to go to, and then to your right is where our people, you can hear them laughing and talking and having a good time, speaking a language, you can understand them, and this is the way they're going to. This is our heaven. And they get there, and then and as they you've finally reached their four obstacles and they get to the pearly gates, so to speak, and your scape is matapisa. Will come and get the spirit, and will come and get the food, and they'll take them to where their people are, where they're waiting. Your families that are gone before us, and this is where when you say, "Go up, min mino, kapigo," and they tell them this is what the food and how much staking, they this is what your people are sending to you. They never forget you. They never forget you, and the they are very thankful that they get their food. Sometimes you when you dream, like sometimes the spirits will come to you in a dream. Oh, hapsin on Davis, Kaya na kita some. They're coming to ask you for food, or sometimes maybe some of you experienced that. You asking for food. Because I get that sometimes. My mom and my auntie, and even some people I don't even know. Can you feed me? So when we're going to make a feast for our family on Mother's Day, I think, or something like that. You would just stay game, and that includes all my mom, all my relatives, and we're going to make a feast for them. And we usually make them yearly, once a year, but we didn't do it for the last 2 or 3 years on account of COVID. So we're going to do it this year. My family's going to do it, and we'll probably get somebody. I can do this, the ceremony, or I can do that. But when you bury people too, that's the same story you tell. It's not like I said, it's not a prayer. It's a story that the elders gave to us to share. And when they get there, when they get to where they were going, and the spirit or the people that you give your feast to, they're very thankful, and they said that mikwech can't modest you in the thank you. We don't have life to give you, but we'll give you prosperity, good life, and good times. That's what they give us in return sometimes. So that's the story of how the uh, the feast of the Last Supper is said and done. And then there's another one there that goes with that, and this is kind of a hard one to take. Is when you commit suicide. Suicide. Majas even go tapin naman. Kanyo tigagay sa asi. He says, when you take your life, you will not get to heaven until when your time comes. I had a incident here a couple of weeks ago where this young guy hung himself, and the grandmother wanted to make a feast. But I says, you can make the feast, but your boy's spirit might not be there. He's suffering on that road to heaven. The elders say that there's people you're suffering there. What to get to what you is what can't where we're supposed to go. They're going to be suffering on that road. So even the Catholics, I don't think they accept suicides. So that's. But there is a special prayer that the way the way I was told anyway. And if anybody wants to learn about it, you can come and ask me. Give me tobacco, and I'll share that with you. If you want to, DJ, go beyond the Mexican. If you know how to do this, come to stay. King, King. No, him, yeah. Oh, okay. I'll tell him that. Okay. Okay, so anyway, that's the way it is, and I made it short and sweet because it's getting late in the afternoon there, my girl. I want to go. And bingo time. Okay, and if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them as best as I can if you have any questions or. Okay then.
Okay, no questions? So we're going to start again tomorrow morning, same time, breakfast at 9. We'll start up at 10. And we'll have the videographer here again tomorrow.